Disney's Adventures of the Gummi Bears is a Disney animated television series that first aired in the United States from 1985 to 1991. The series was the first animated production by Walt Disney Animation Television, and loosely inspired by the Gummy Bear candies. Disney CEO Michael Eisner was struck with inspiration for the show when his son requested the candies one day. The series premiered on NBC on September 14, 1985. And aired there for 4 seasons. The series moved to ABC for 1 season from 1989 to 1990, and concluded on September 6, 1991 as part of the Disney Afternoon Television syndication package. Of the series' 65 shows, 30 were double features, consisting of 2 11-minute cartoons, thereby bringing the series' total to 94 distinct episodes overall. The show is well remembered for its theme music, written by Michael and Patty Silversher, and creation of gummiberry juice, which was a type of magic potion. Gaining abilities allow them to bounce away from their hunters. The series was later rebroadcast on the syndicated Disney Afternoon block, and rerun on the Disney Afternoon through the summer of 1991. In later years, it was shown on the Disney Channel, and later on Toon Disney, with its most recent televised airing occurring on December 28, 2001. Seasons 1 to 3 of the series were released on DVD on November 14, 2006. Characters. The Gummi Bears. Gummi Bears are a fictional group of anthropomorphic bears who have a long and rich history, and are relatively unknown to the humans of the world who believe that they are legends and fairy tales. In series continuity, it is said that in ancient times, the great gummies and humans lived peacefully together side by side, but for reasons left undetailed, the great gummies were forced to flee and sail across the sea to find a new home. The ancient great gummies left behind small, scattered populations of bears to watch over the gummy cities and warrens, such as the main group of the series, the Gummy Glen Gummies, to await the time when humans and gummies could peacefully coexist so they could then summon the great gummies to return home. Gummy Glen. The Gummy Glen Gummies are a group of gummies who live in a hollow tree known as Gummy Glen that is the base for a vast complex of underground tunnels and rooms. They harvest the gummiberries that grow wild around them in the forest, and produce a powerful juice known as gummiberry juice. They try to hide from humans as much as possible, with the exception of friends Kevin, a page, and Princess Kala. In later episodes the gummies have chance encounters with other friendly humans. It is never explained how they are related to each other, although the episode Up, and Away suggests that they are the last remaining ones in Gummy Glen, and at risk of extinction. Gruffy Gummy, Corey Burton, is an old-fashioned bear who prefers to do things the Gummy way, and the de facto leader of Gummy Glen. An extremely skilled craftsman and mechanic, he is the one that often fixes the old Gummy technology and trapdoors, as well as building traps around the Glen to deal with humans and ogres. In the first episode, he was distrustful of Kevin, but later on in the same episode, he unknowingly admitted that he secretly liked him. When it comes to building and using tools, Gruffy is a perfectionist, which can be his undoing at times. However, at other times he is respected as the voice of stability and practical solutions when the other gummies fall into despair. Zummy Gummy, Jim Cummings, is an aged bear who is the Gummy Glen Gummies' keeper of Gummy wisdom, and later the holder of the Gummy medallion which he uses to read his magic book to become the group's magician. He is forgetful and clumsy, misspeaking often with spoonerisms, and his spells tend to backfire. He also has a fear of heights. Grammy Gummy is another old bear who is the matriarch of Gummy Glen. She acts as the group's mother, who cooks, cleans, and is the gummy who prepares the gummiberry juice. She holds the secret recipe, and wants to pass it down to Cindy when she is of age. She has an intense rivalry with Gruffy Gummy, and tends to bicker with him over what has to be done. Her cooking is implied to be disliked by the others, with the notable exception of Tummy. Tummy Gummy is an overweight gummy, stated to be around or a little younger than Gusto, who enjoys a good meal, and would much rather be eating the gummiberries than picking them. Of all the kid gummies in Gummy Glen, Tummy is the oldest. He has a rather relaxed and easygoing personality, which often gets him caught up in Cubby's schemes. However, In dangerous situations Tummy has shown exceptional bravery, and throughout the series he demonstrates a natural talent as a sailor, gardener, artist and craftsman. Sunny Gummy is a preteen Gummy, who dreams about becoming a princess just like her best friend the human princess Kala. Sunny is the most curious about human culture and human fashion, and least concerned with Gummy history. She is the second oldest of the kid Gummies, behind only Tummy Gummy. Later in the series, she is shown to possibly have a crush on Gusto, and becomes close friends with Buddy. Cubby Gummy is the youngest Gummy Glen Gummy, and dreams of becoming a great Gummy knight. He is incredibly impetuous and has a tendency to get distracted by anything mysterious or exciting. He sometimes dons a mask and becomes a vigilante known as the Crimson Avenger. He is best friends with the human Kevin, and coincidentally, he was the first Gummy that Kevin encountered. Augustus Gusto Gummy is an artistic, individualist Gummy who was stranded on a deserted island for 12 years with his best friend Artie Deco, a wise talking toucan. Tummy and Gruffy were shipwrecked on Gusto's island, just as a volcano was due to erupt and cause the island to sink into the sea. The three bears worked together and brought Gusto home with them to Gummy Glen during Season 2. Gruffy tends to argue with Gusto for his outside-the-box thinking, and how much influence he is on Cubby and Sunny. Gusto lives by himself in a makeshift apartment behind a waterfall, but lives in Gummy Glen when the weather is too harsh. Ursula, later in the series, the Gummy Glen Gummies discover the Great Gummy's abandoned city of Ursula, largely unoccupied until the Barbics, a tribe of rough and tough Gummies from Barbic Woods, move there. Sir Thornberry is an old Gummy Bear Knight. He has been the caretaker for Ursula for 50 years when we meet him. He is brave and honorable, but also somewhat forgetful and clumsy. Ursula is the female leader of the Barbic Gummies. She leads the Barbics to Ursula in search of an ultimate weapon that will let the Barbics wipe out the human race, but are eventually convinced to live peacefully in Ursula. She harbors the most animosity towards humans but does learn to accept Kevin after he and Buddy save her, Gruffy and Sir Thornberry in the test of bearhood. Gritty is Ursula's lieutenant and famous as the Barbics' toughest warrior. Cubby idolizes him at first, but has to work hard to overcome the latter's antipathy toward humans. Buddy is a teenaged member of the Barbics, about Sunny's age. More gentle and artistic than the rest of his tribe, he enjoys playing the flute. Humans and other figures equals. Castle Dunwin, Kevin, Brett Johnson, David Faustino, Jason Marsden, R.J. Williams, Kevin, one of the main human characters in the series, and one of the few who believe that Gummy Bears exist, is the page of Sir Tuxford, of King Gregor's court. Kevin befriends the Gummy Bears in the first episode and shares the same ambition as Cubby to become a knight. Kevin also had a Gummy medallion, given to him by his grandfather, that opened the Great Book of Gummy, the source of all Gummy Bear wisdom. The young squire has a crush on Princess Kala, which is requited. Princess Kala is the daughter of King Gregor, ruler of Dunwin and one of the main human characters. She is an adventurous character of considerable talents, and she often drags the dumbstruck Kevin into story situations. She also befriended the Gummy Bears in due time and is close friends with Sunny. She hates the pomp and circumstance that comes with being royalty while wishing to be more involved in the governance and defense of the realm. Consequently, she tends to be somewhat rebellious at times, often spurning her father's admonishment that a princess must set an example for her people. That does not, however, prevent her from exerting her authority as a princess whenever it suits her purpose. She even proved that she needs no protection, as she had surreptitiously trained herself in the use of weapons. King Gregor is the ruler of a fictionalized English kingdom named Dunwin. He is a brave figure and protects his people from villains like Duke Ickthorn with the help of Sir Tuxford and his knights. On occasion he has personally commanded knights in combat when leading a charge against ogres. Gregor is unaware of the Gummy Bears' existence or involvement in saving his kingdom many times. His pride and joy is his daughter, Kala, which later includes considerable respect of her previously hidden fighting prowess which he saw firsthand when they inadvertently challenged each other in disguise during a test. King Gregor has actually met the Gummies on certain occasions, but has not caught on to the fact that his secret benefactors were Gummy Bears. Sir Tuxford Knights, Roger C. Carmel, Brian Cummings. Sir Tuxford is the highest-ranking knight in King Gregor's court and his trusted friend. He is an older, jolly character, always ready for a fight but perhaps past his prime. Sir Tuxford leads the Knights of Castle Dunwyn and is the main force that keeps Duke Ickthorn and his ogres away. His catchphrase is often "I'm sure I don't know, sire," when questioned by King Gregor of the present situation. Despite his age and his appearance, Sir Tuxford has apprehended many troublemakers in Dunwyn, and done battle with Ickthorn and his ogres. Unwin, a knight squire at Dunwyn. A big bully, loudmouth, and in reality a coward, who constantly picks on Kevin. He finally gets his dues when Princess Calla bests him at a tournament for the appointment of the Princess Royal Protector. Sir Gawain, Kevin's grandfather and retired knight, who also originally found the Gummy medallion which Kevin had been wearing until he gave it to the Gummy Bears. When Gawain was about Kevin's age, a local Gummy Bear that owned the medallion practically bowled him over in the forest while bouncing along, and lost the medallion, which Gawain found and retrieved. He wore the medallion in his service as a knight, and in his later years passed it on to Kevin. He is highly idealistic and loves to tell moral fables of the ancient Gummies on every suitable occasion. He has met the Bears of Gummy Glen, but he is unaware that Kevin knows them as well, although he has said that he is confident Kevin will meet the Gummy Bears. Having been told by Kevin that he had lost the Gummy medallion, when Sir Gawain saw that Zummy was now wearing it, he was glad it was in the right hands. Most likely named for the Knight of the Round Table in the Arthurian legend, though it is possible that he is meant to be the same character. Princess Marie, the daughter of King Jean-Claude, the ruler of a fictionalized French kingdom allied to Dunwyn. Originally a spoiled brat, she considered Calla a rival and picked a fight with her on every occasion. After both their lives are saved by the Gummy Bears, however, she mellows considerably and becomes one of Calla's best friends. Prince Yen Moon, a prince from the Far East who travels to Dunwyn in search of help from the Gummies in defending his kingdom from a lethal dragon. Using an ancient Gummy Buddha-like statue, the Gummies are able to defeat the dragon by using it as a teleporting device. Trina, a blind peasant shepherdess who lives in the Dunwyn region with her sheepdog Watcher and befriends Tummy after he hides in her cottage when on the run from the ogres. She shares a common bond with Tummy in that both are chubby due to their love of food and she wishes to cook for Tummy, who is more than happy to accept. She sets traps to throw Duke Ickthorn off the track, teaching Tummy that disabled does not mean unable. She invites Tummy to come visit her whenever he wishes, but not to sneak in. Dr. Dexter, a pharmacist who feels he is not owning up to his family's proud reputation of medicine. Tummy uses gummiberry juice in one of his medicines, which results in Dunyan citizens becoming super strong, but attracts Ickthorn as well. Dr. Dexter later realizes his concoction can serve as a super fertilizer and thus achieves success after all. Sir Victor Ickthorn, he is Duke Ickthorn's brother and a famous paladin in the realm of Dunwyn. Ashamed of his family's betrayal, he has taken the path of justice to atone for their sins. Fortunately, when Victor eventually confessed to stop his brother's blackmailing, he was relieved to learn that at least the Dunwynians do not hold his family relations against him. Sir Victor has become Kevin's idol and friend, but he is unaware of the Gummy Bears' existence. He can take any insult to himself, but not to his steed Destiny, and has the ability to make ladies swoon when he kisses their hands. Castle Dreckmore, Duke Sigmund Ickthorn, the evil, irascible, vengeful and power-crazed ruler of Castle Dreckmore is the main villain of the series. He hunts the Gummy Bears with the aid of his ogre army to get in possession of the gummiberry juice and their other secrets. His constant attempts to conquer Castle Dunwyn fail typically due to the self-overestimation of his tactical skills, the bearishness of his ogres and the intervention of the Gummy Bears. Once the greatest knight of Dunwyn, he was exiled after conspiring against King Gregor and found refuge in Castle Dreckmore. Ickthorn has a bigger and alas unrequited a crush on Lady Bane. Sigmund Ickthorn's brother Sir Victor fights wrongdoing as his antithesis. it is implied in some episodes that Igthorn had a father who had also conspired to control Dunwyn and thus raised his son in that mindset. Toadwood, also known as Toady, Corey Burton, the smallest ogre in Drekmore, and Igthorn's illustic lieutenant. He seems to genuinely like his Dukey, and, as his name suggests, is a fawning and enduring character who bears most of the bullying and punishment brought upon him by the Duke and his fellow ogres. He is the smartest of his kin, who do respect his ability to read and write. He has a cousin named Tadpole, who is just as diminutive, but more intelligent and bossier. Although Toadwood is largely an enemy, there are rare occasions where he learns the values the Gummies stand for, such as one time when he decides to impersonate the Crimson Avenger and gets taught a serious lesson about personal honor and the means of service to others. Ogres, Duke Igthorn's shock troops. Big and strong, but also extremely naive and clumsy. Their bumbling incompetence often jeopardizes their Duke's ingenious plans, which constantly drives him insane and brings him to the verge of despair. They are organized in way of military rank, and constantly call Igthorn Dukey, which he loathes. Igthorn, don't call me Dukey. Ogres, okay, Dukey. Zook, has green skin and orange hair. Gad, has purple skin and wears a metal helmet. Zook and Gad are Igthorn's bodyguards, their names are taken from Gadzook. Gad and Zook hold the rank of corporal and private, respectively. Once, when all the ogres were turned into babies for a while, Zook was called Snookums by Grammy. This was originally Kevin in disguise, but in a later episode Cubby was captured by an ogre who also has that name. Others, Lady Bane, the main evil witch of the series. She is in possession of a gummy medallion much like Zummy's, and craves any power she can get her hands on for her bid for power. She is served by her jackal-like troggles and on occasion by Duke Igthorn, whose crush on her she finds very annoying, although she did agree to a dinner date with Igthorn if she figured it would forge an alliance to destroy the Gummies. She is also vain, at one point in addition to expressing anger that she was foiled by the Gummies, that she chipped one of her nails as well. In one episode it was discovered that she is extremely old, and uses her magic to de-age herself into an attractive dark-haired sorceress by stealing Suna's youth until the other Gummies managed to reverse it. The creators of the television program took inspiration for the character by the historical figure of Lucrezia Borgia. The Trolls, a band of green-skinned and diminutive thieves trying to do their best to better their positions at the expense of other people. They are very skilled in cash-bashing and operating mechanical devices. They are eventually captured by King Gregor's knights and remanded to the dungeon in Dunwyn Castle. Carpies, a race of vulture-like creatures living on the spire-like Carpi Mountain. They capture Suni twice a year, first for her singing talent, then to become their king. Their bullying king has been succeeded by Bobo the Dodo. Flint Shrubwood, a wandering bounty hunter in the tradition of Sir Guoleone's Man with No Name. He is hired by Duke Igthorn in the episode, for a few sovereigns more to catch a gummy bear for the promised price of 20 gold sovereigns. Shrubwood resembles Clint Eastwood in appearance, voice, and mannerisms. He is armed with a pair of boomerang launchers and carries a miniature flute on which he plays a 4-note musical cue as he travels. Gummiberry juice. Gummiberry juice is a concoction formulated using gummy berries by the Gummi Bears, with the recipe known only by Grammy Gummy until she later taught it to Sunny Gummy. The juice is produced by adding 6 handfuls of red berries, then 4 orange berries, 3 purple berries, 4 blue berries, 3 green berries and 1 yellow berry. The recipe ends with a 3-step stir: first stir slow to the right, then slow to the left, then tap the pot to banish the bubbles. Gummy bears gain the ability to bounce at unusual heights for a limited amount of time. Falling from heights which would normally be fatal to a gummy will only cause them to bounce like rubber. The ability to direct themselves while powered by the juice, such as bouncing along the ground, is not instinctive to gummy bears and must be learned, as the Barber Gummies quickly find out. Ogres and humans both gain super strength for a similar amount of time. Drinking too much gummiberry juice has unforeseen side effects on the consumer, and the abilities gained from drinking the juice can only be used by humans once per day. With this in mind, Kevin and Carla only drink the juice if asked to do so by the Gummy Bears, and if given a dose for later, will only drink it in an emergency. If the juice is produced inaccurately from the recipe, the results are adverse outcomes, though nothing fatal. In Season 1, Episode 14 The Secret of the Juice, Gummy tries to teach Gummy for the first time how to make the juice. Gummy performs the three-step stir successfully like she always does, but when it's Suni's turn, it ends in disaster. She stirs the pot too vigorously and then bangs it too hard, causing the pot of unstable juice to somehow explode, covering Suni, Gummy and the entire kitchen in juice. In one episode, an incorrect juice resulted in pink fur, but when poured in water, creates a pink sleeping mist that Ickthorn once tried to use. In the series, the juice was used as a major plot device with the main recurring villain, Duke Ickthorn, trying to get a good supply of the juice, or the recipe, to create mass amounts to grant himself and the ogre's super strength. Episodes Cameos Darkwing Duck, in the episode Life, the Negatives and Everything, Gummy appears as a doll. Robot Chicken, in the episode In Bed Surrounded by Loved Ones, the Gummy Bears hold an intervention for Tummy's gummiberry juice addiction. VHS releases International releases Several VHS cassettes of the series were released internationally. Of those, 8 VHS cassettes containing 32 episodes of the series are listed below. The first 4 cassettes, which contain 20 episodes of the series, were released in English in the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. These 4 cassettes were also released in some non-English speaking countries. The other 4 cassettes, as well as the ones not listed below, were released exclusively in non-English speaking countries including the Netherlands, Poland, Finland, and Italy. DVD releases On November 14, 2006, Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment released Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Volume 1 on DVD in Region 1. The 3-disc set features Seasons 1 to 3 and does not contain any bonus features, save for subtitles for the hearing impaired. Amazon UK were planning to release the series in 12 Region 2 volumes, each containing approximately 5 episodes, as well as a box set containing the first 7 volumes. These DVDs are currently unavailable and were very likely never produced, probably due to low demand. They probably would have random episodes, which weren't in series, storyline or production order, and were only about 60 minutes per volume, meaning if they had 5 episodes, that would be 5 stories and not 5 x 30-minute shows. On the Amazon website there is a review about the UK Amazon exclusive set and features the contents of the set, however the reviewer in question resides in South Africa, putting the existence of this UK set into further doubt. If they were produced, then they were removed from the market extremely quickly, as this probably may have been planned as an official release, but the discs were either flawed or there wasn't much demand, so the set's release was cancelled. In Australia they released 9 volumes, which have long been discontinued. They are all in complete storyline production order, but starting from the first volume, they start from production episode 19 in Series 2 and go right up to episode 65 of the series' final 2-part double-episode adventure. Legacy Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears was Disney's first major serialized animated television series, and is often credited by animators and animation historians as having helped jump-start the television animation boom of the late 1980s and 1990s. Consequently, it also became the forerunner to Disney's famous Disney afternoon timeslot, which gave way to other famous serialized Disney television series, such as Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, Goof Troop, Bonkers, Tailspin and Gargoyles. Although many of these subsequently created shows exceeded Gummy Bears in budget and length, it is often credited as the sort of prototype to all of the subsequent animation which followed it. The show was so successful in the United Kingdom that the episodes A New Beginning and Faster Than a Speeding Tommy were released as theatrical featurettes there in 1986 and 1987. Other appearances of Gummy Bears in other media included one appearance of Gruffy Gummy starring in a DTV music video of the Elvis Presley song Teddy Bear in 1986. The show's popularity also led to a retheming of Disneyland's motorboat cruise, along with a small part of Disneyland that became known as Disney Afternoon Avenue. The motorboat cruise became the motorboat cruise to Gummy Glen, and plywood characters from the show made gummiberry juice along the waterway. The Gummy Bears have also been featured as meetable characters who greet guests in Disney theme parks. References. External links. Gummy Bears page, Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears at the Big Cartoon Database, the great site of Gummy, a large resource of Gummy Bears information. Volume 1 DVD review with episode guide and pictures at ultimatedisney.com, Adventures of the Gummy Bears at the Internet Movie Database, Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears at TV.com.